Hello everyone, my name is Brianna Santos, and today I'm going to be reviewing the book One Was Johnny, a Counting Book by Maurice Sendak. This is one of many books in the Nutshell Library. As you can see, there are many books that kind of have the same concept. This book is a fun book to introduce to your students if they're learning about counting, animals, or just rhythmic patterns. This book is filled with lots of fun and has a little mischievous twist in the middle, which makes it super exciting for young kids, especially students who are either kindergarten through first grade or even second grade. This is a good book to add to your collection and is one that they would definitely love to have. The story begins with Johnny, a little boy who is found sitting quietly in his room. You can see here that Johnny is just sitting quietly reading his book with no visitors or guests. He is just by himself. He starts off completely content and by himself, but as you continue to turn the pages, more and more visitors begin to enter in Johnny's room. So from animals to people, his room slowly begins to get filled more with just a lot of chaos and just a mess. From a cat to a monkey to robbers, the room ends up becoming full of just so much chaos. And eventually, Johnny finds out a clever way to get everyone out of his room and to gain his peace and quiet back. This book is a great example of a circular story, meaning that where the ending of the book loops back to the beginning. So Maurice Sendak not only is the author of this book, but she is the illustrator. She does a really good job at really highlighting her style, letting it shine throughout the book. Just looking at the cover, we can see kind of a highlight or a little detail of what we can expect while we read. Little boy, presumed to be Johnny, is just sitting at his chair, reading a book unbothered. I think that's really interesting, or it's a fun concept to now look at and look back in, because this book is full of so much chaos, and initially that's how it all started. As for the different kinds of variations of line art and colors that are used within the book, Maurice does a really good job at continuing and staying close to her muted tone of colors. She uses only a few colors within the book, and I feel like that's a great way to keep young readers really focused and engaged. There's already so much going on in the book, let alone if all the pictures are crazy and colorful. I feel like it would distract young readers. You can see throughout her line work that she really pays attention to detail. Each animal, each person has their own personality, which brings the book to life. And as you continue reading, you can see how those reactions really play into how the storyline continues to grow. Maurice does a really good job at creating a playful yet engaging illustrations that continue to make the book enjoyable to read throughout. One Was Johnny falls into the genres of children's literature and counting books. It's a perfect early reader's book because of its simple language, repetitive structure, and the way it introduces numbers in a fun and playful way. The rhyming text also places it into the poetry and rhyming storytelling category, making it a perfect book to read aloud to your class and just kind of have. My favorite quote from the book is when Johnny says, "He stood on a chair and said, 'Here's what I'll do. I'll start to count backwards, and when I am through, if this house isn't empty, I'll eat all of you.'" This is my favorite line from the book, not only because it is kind of like the turning point of what happens or what the book is about, but it really does express Johnny's playful and determined personality. It brings out and kind of highlights the humorous and unexpected tone that kind of turns the story into Johnny's way. And from the teacher perspective, it's a really fun way and a fun quote that really engages the young readers and has a fun little wordplay to it. Initially, when I first read the book, I was not expecting that, and just hearing that quote and seeing how the book turns out really made it one of my favorites, and I really enjoyed that. With every book, there are strengths and weaknesses, and with this book, I feel like one of its strengths is that it has a very engaging rhythm and repetition, allowing it to really be fun for young readers. I think with the repetition, it allows them to really build their confidence while reading, and is a great way. It's a great technique to use and a tool to use to incorporate math concepts in a reading atmosphere. I think allowing Johnny to talk about one by one what animal comes in and being able to tell him to go backwards to take them away, I think is a great little way to really incorporate math and that kind of thinking into students' minds. One negative or one weakness I would think this book has is that the joke itself is kind of hard for others or young readers to interpret. I think the whole humorness of the book might go over someone's head or the young readers' heads, making them not really understand why they're getting kicked out. But I think overall this book is a great book to add to your collection and has many more strengths. With this book, I think there are many different activities that you can do to incorporate it into your classroom, from using it for the math side to the rhyming side. there are different ways that you can really use this book. One way that I think I would use this book, especially since it is targeted to kindergarten to first graders, I would use it as kind of like an art project kind of deal. I would call it Johnny's Visitors, and I would allow the students, after reading the book, to draw their own version of Johnny's room, allowing them to kind of decorate and imagine new characters that they would like to see in Johnny's room. They could also create a short story or a rhyme about what happens to those animals, or how they get removed, or how they walk into the room. And this just allows them to use their creativity, sequencing skills, and just literacy development and all to really incorporate a fun, interactive way to kind of put themselves in Johnny's shoes and kind of have that freedom to do what they want to Johnny's room and just have that free will of making the story. One Was Johnny is a short, fun, and educational book that has full personality. This book is a great pick for any parent or teacher who is looking for a book that is not only fun and exciting, but also educational. This is a perfect book that will keep your students involved and maybe crack a couple smiles.